Number of interesting issues are going on nationwide with regard to converting our national manufacturing to green technology. We're going to be talking tonight with Manny Flores, who's the Alderman of First Ward in the City of Chicago, who's been dealing with these issues in a number of different creative ways. We're going to get his ideas tonight. My name is Barrett Peterson. You're watching Illinois Issues in Review. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hello and welcome to another edition of Illinois Issues in Review. I'm your host, Barrett Peterson. Thanks for being with us. Tonight's guest is Manny Flores. Manny is the Alderman of the 1st District, 1st Ward in Chicago. Thanks for being with us.
No, thank you so much for having me on the program, Barrett.
Good. First of all, let's remind the people in Franklin Park and Leiden Township who are going to be seeing this that you're a former resident of Franklin Park and Leiden Township and went to West Leiden High School.
West Leiden, Westdale, and Manheim Junior High. So I'm very proud to have grown up there and gone to school there. I've been back home several times, and frankly, I miss some of the things like Jeans and Judes and Ozzy subs and some of my old friends who still live in the area.
And did you participate in Westdale baseball?
Of course.
Oh, good.
I was
one of the better programs in the area.
One of the better programs. Also played for the Leiden Bears as well as for the Melrose Park Gales. And so I'm proud to say that when I was in high school, I played football, wrestled, and ran track as well.
And then when you left Leiden, where'd you go?
Well, I ended up graduating from Rosary College, which is now Dominican University, a local college. River Forest, and then went on to law school at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where during that time where I had an opportunity to work for a congressman and went on to become a prosecutor at the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, and then decided to then continue to pursue my career in public service and decided to run for city council member to represent the 1st Ward in Chicago. And
that was an interesting race because nobody really gave you much of a chance of winning that.
It was a tough.
And then you ended up in a runoff, and then in the runoff, the other candidate dropped out before the general, right?
Well, the way that it happens in the city of Chicago is it's a nonpartisan election. You must win by a simple majority.
50% plus
50% plus one vote
of the vote that came out.
Correct. And in our situation back in 2003, you had 3 candidates. You had the incumbent and 2 challengers. I worked hard, fortunate enough to receive the most votes in the first round, but because we had 3 candidates, there was a split. So there was a special election that was held in April of that year, which is typical for this type of election, and it was between the incumbent and myself, and for the runoff, I'm proud to say that our percentage jumped drastically, and
so he stayed in the race, and you did have a general.
Yes, we had a general, and ended up winning by nearly 20%.
Wow.
It was a 20% margin. So great experience.
And that was what year?
This was 2003. So I'm on my 2nd term.
Seems like you've been there a lot longer than that.
It feels like it. A lot of things have changed from the very beginning. I'm very proud to say that during that time, I'm married now. I got married, and
so you have
to
a political widow too?
Georgina Flores, who grew up in the Park Ridge community, and we have a 2.5-year-old son. His name is Theodore. I call him Teddy, and just loving and enjoying parenthood.
And what are some of the things that you first started doing when you became an alderman? And it was probably kind of interesting transition to find out that being an alderman is a lot different than being some other public elected official like a state representative or state senator.
You know, in the city of Chicago, like in many municipalities, the city council members act as legislators, but oftentimes we're also administrators. We are mini mayors of sorts for our wards. Each ward in the city of Chicago represents roughly anywhere from 50 to 60,000 people, which if you think in terms of population size is about the size of a very large suburb. In the 1st ward, just to provide some context for the viewers, in the north boundary it's Belmont, in the south it's Ohio Street, On the east, it's roughly Ashland, and the west, it's roughly California. So I represent some of the most dynamic neighborhoods in the city.
And parts of your ward are pretty close to Lincoln Park, you say?
Not far in the northern section, but I represent Wicker Park, Bucktown, Logan Square, East Village, Ukrainian Village. You know, some of the viewers may remember the old Riverview
Yes.
amusement park.
Yeah, sure. I was there many times.
Well, it's crazy how things are. You know, and you know, my father, as a young boy, used to reference this amusement park, and he used to talk about it very fondly. And then would always end his stories though by saying, "Well, you know, but it closed." And I remember telling me how when it closed, it was a real big disappointment. Fast forward 20 years. 25 years, I'm now the alderman of that same neighborhood. And I remember going into one of the police stations in the First Ward and seeing on the hall, they almost had like a little mini shrine dedicated to this amusement park, and reading about it and just thinking back to when my father used to share these stories with me as a little boy.
Yeah.
But you know, back to answering your question in terms of some of the issues and matters that I deal with, it's an interesting job in where you get to act as an executive of sorts and also work as a legislator. So you're looking at issues like development for me, economic development, education, community safety, making sure that the infrastructure is in good shape. And then figuring out not only how to deliver city services and act as an ombudsman and as a facilitator for the delivery of city services, but also to ensure that to use that experience to develop legislation, to improve upon the systems, improve upon the delivery of services. And I'm very proud to say that from my experiences, one of the issues that I've decided to really champion is the green economy. And when I'm talking about the green economy, energy efficiency, looking at how we can tackle global warming and use that energy and enthusiasm into green collar jobs. We've heard Barack Obama, our new president, and John McCain during the campaign season talking about all these new jobs potentially, and I'm proud to say that we're doing some of those things right now in the First Ward and fulfilling that promise.
And you like to take a practical look at it because you can do a lot for the environment and cut down your costs just by doing an energy audit of your house, having somebody come in and do a blower test to find out where you're leaking energy. Put 16, 18 inches of cellulose in your attic, some of those different things that are practical, so you're not having to put a great big huge expenditure of funds like solar voltaic cells like I'd like to get into, or some of these other things. Is there any movement towards requiring maybe an energy audit when people sell or buy homes?
There's a big movement right now, and that's one area where there's a big need. As the city of Chicago and other municipalities are requiring builders to build structures with tighter